Hello everybody, it's me again, Martin100, and I am back with another crappy creepypasta. Something a little bit more quick and a lot more obscure because there were no models for this inside Gmod, so I really couldn't create a machinima. But anyways, let's just get back to the creepypasta. We are going to be reading Date Alive, Broken Promises. And this one was created by the same creator of Mikigara School Suite, Vincent Lechner, or Vincent L, as he likes to call himself. So you know what, I'm going to be a little bit more easier on this because I actually do in fact talk to Vincent, and I'll tell him about how to create a creepypasta and how to improve it inside the end of the review. So let's just get into Date Alive, Lost OVA, Broken Promises. Ever seen a Lost episode before? Ever seen one of your favorite anime? No? Well, I can guarantee you don't want to. Not after the kind of experience that I had. You may or may not have heard an anime called Date Alive or Alive. I don't know. Have you? If not, let me explain about it to you. It is about a school upperclassman named Shido. Hopefully that's his name. Who saves girls known as spirits by going on a date with them and kissing them to seal off their powers. It sounds weird, okay. It sounds weird, but hey, who are we to judge? Okay. It was one of my favorite series when I first started watching the anime back in the summer of 2015. However, this is a story of an episode of the show that I nor any other person never watched, and which I never did. It was a nice winter evening, maybe around 5 o'clock. I was at a garage sale. At a friend's house on the opposite side of the street. They were selling things they felt they didn't need anymore. Old furniture, board games, DVDs, etc. One or more of these things was an old Call of Duty game, a desk, a clock, and even a bootleg DVD of the new Lego Batman movie, which didn't come out until around February. I wanted to buy one of these things, and what caught my eye was what appeared to be a bootleg DVD of Date Alive or Live. It claimed to have both seasons, plus the 2 OVAs, and the movie Mariah Judgment. I could tell that my friend didn't make it himself, because the handwriting was a little bit sloppy, and his is more better than that. On the cover it said Date Alive or Alive, complete series, plus Mariah Judgment. I asked my friend where he got this. He said to me, I got this from some old guy. Who was running a bootleg DVD stand in New York City. There are actually 3 OVAs, not just 2. The third one, however, was very disturbing. I don't know what the guy was thinking when he sold it to me. But whatever you do not watch it. Even if you are that curious about it. I won't even dare talk about what happened in it. I asked him why, and he wouldn't reply back. He just looked down and said, you can have it for free. The others, as well as the Call of Duty game and the Lego Batman movie, you have to pay for it. I paid him about $30 for the things and went to my home. I watched part of the bootleg Lego Batman movie on my computer and played part of the Call of Duty game. After 2 hours of playing the game, I thought about that third OVA. Since my mom was out for a meeting and my dad was in San Francisco for a monster convention, okay, I felt like I had nothing else to do. I went to the basement, set up the projector, turned on the PS4, and inserted the bootleg disc of the Date Alive DVD into my console. The PS4 read the disc as the same name as the DVD. I pressed the X button, and the Date Alive or Alive logo appeared on the screen. The DVD menu had no music, but had the posters of the anime. It had 3 options: Date Alive or Alive 1 and 2, plus OVAs, Mariah's Judgment, options, and language selection. Ooh boy. The episode selection for both seasons had fan art of Toake and Shido watching the sunset, like in the end credits of the second season. The Mariah Judgment scene selection had the movie's posters with Mariah in her split spear form, and the options had a screenshot of Westcott, the season 2 antagonist. I changed it to English even though it sometimes isn't that great. When I went to the episode selection screen, I scrolled through the episodes to find this third OVA my friend was talking about, but there it was. Just after the second OVA, it had no screenshot, but it had the title. The title was Broken Promises. I wasn't sure about the title at the time, but with no hesitation, I selected it and it started to play. I wish I had never, ever done that. There was a black screen for about 10 seconds. After that, the intro played right away. It was the intro for the second season. Everything was normal until about 30 seconds in when the intro began to glitch and the audio's pitch began to lower. I assumed it was recorded on a crappy TV at the time. 10 seconds later, the quality became blurry and the audio got a little distorted. After about a minute into the intro, static kicked in. We're going to static. Okay. Static kicked in and the quality went haywire. Shortly after it ended, the screen flickered an image for a split second before cutting to black. What I can recall from the image was something that I could never forget. Something I consider horrifying. It showed a man with bloodshot eyes. Ooh, oh my god. Wearing a blooded shirt and had a knife stabbed in his throat. We're already getting straight into the paint here, but whatever. In the background showed a person with no torso or arms hanging on a noose. The man was smiling and was even bleeding blood. I mean, what was he gonna bleed, like piss or something? Blood out of his mouth, which was full of maggots and moths. The screen went black for about 10 seconds before showing Raisin High School, the common location for the show. It then cut to the classroom with nobody in it except Toike and Shido. Toike had the most depressing look on her face. In most episodes, she's either happy or sad, or even had a look of anger, only in some scenes though. This, however, was different. Shido was just packing his things and said something to Toiko, however it was in Japanese. I was confused because I thought I said it in English. I went back to the options menu to check if I did, and of course I was right. I did say it in English. Maybe they didn't dub this one or something, I thought to myself. I resumed the episode, this time with English subtitles turned on. Toike, are you alright? Shido said in Japanese. Can we go on a date sometime? Soon, said Toiko. Shido nodded. He then walked Toiko home, before the screen cut to black for about a full minute. After a full minute passed, it cut to what appeared to be live action footage of what looked like a farm in Pennsylvania. I mean, how do you know? Okay. With a house and a barn. This lasted for about 10 seconds before cutting to another screen. Shido was getting ready for the date. He wore a golden tuxedo with shiny sneakers, a big bow tie, and a fancy watch. What was strange was that there was no earpiece in his ear to communicate with his sister, Kiratori, and the rest of the Reitosker. Don't know how to say that. He was standing behind what resembled to be St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican of Rome, Italy, waiting for Toiko. Okay, what? Vatican of Rome? Okay. He waited for about 5 minutes when he decided to go look for her. What was weird was that there were nobody around Tengu City. Not even one person. He just kept walking through the empty street. Just walking and walking and walking until he entered a building with a weird entrance. When he entered the building, the room he entered was dark red. Unusual. It looked more like a ladies' restroom in a fancy Chicago restaurant. Okay. Except it was larger and had terracotta letters like what you would see in a subway station in New York. In the background, a slow jazz song could be heard. He walked for about 2 minutes before reaching what looked to be... Oh god. As he walked, there were mangled up bodies, mutilated real bodies here and there. The music began to slow down, and now a creepy, gurgling, moaning sound can be heard. What was was also seen were dead animals, some hanging from their internal organs. I felt sick and horrified at what I was looking at. I had no clue about why there were such things in an innocent, lighthearted anime, and just like myself, I wouldn't turn it off or even look up anything about a third OVA. I just keep on watching the episode. You know, that wasn't that creepypasta, but you know, sure, there was Shido's near death in season 2, but that was a different story. Shido was shocked to see the dead bodies, but kept walking. I mean, yes, you just keep walking after seeing dead bodies in Chicago, no less, but you know, whatever. It kept walking before reaching a bloody door. As he opened the door, he was in a ballroom with a curved ceiling, but the floor was bloody and there were more dead bodies. Some of them were Shido's friends, including Origami, Haruto, his teacher, Okaman, I'm sorry for butchering the names, and etc. The moaning cries ended as soon as Shido saw a purple-haired figure at the end of the hall. I was a little glad to see it was Taoke. She wore what looked to be a black dress with great gloves on, high heels with stockings. She even wore a headband with a bow tie. Shido was a little relieved to see it was Taoke after seeing many dead bodies, but you know, we're just gonna forget about that. And he walked towards her slowly. "Shido," Taoke said quietly, "where were you? Why did you come so late?" She then slowly turned to Shido to reveal that, oh goodness, she had a creepy smile on her face. God damn it. And that she was eating a dead cat. Yes, of course. Her smile was similar to Light Yamagama. I don't even know how to say that. From Death Note. She had blood coming from her mouth, and her eyes were pouring out blood. She even made the same laugh as him. She then walked closely towards Shido. I waited so long for this moment, so long that I couldn't wait anymore. Welcome to the ball, Shido. Shido then ran away to his house, and it then cut to black for about 20 seconds. That was when the jazz music ended. Then it cut back to the farm in Pennsylvania. This time, the camera went inside the house. The house had no furniture, except for a small TV screen that showed Taoko's creepy face for about a minute. The TV then showed live action footage of a kid getting stabbed in the chest. Okay, alright. I felt even more sick and creeped out about what was being shown. I felt so sick, like I was gonna vomit. But then it got worse. Oh my god. The camera then zoomed into the TV to show what looked like Miku in some sort of dark room. She was hanging on what appeared to be some kind of noose. She hanged herself, or so I thought. Her arms were tied behind her back, and her mouth was pouring blood. Her eye pupil, had shrunk like a cat when it looks like in bright light. Okay. And her tongue had been chopped off, laying on the ground. Then it cut to what looked like Kirimu, with her face mutilated. Her left eye was missing and her neck had been slit. She had only one arm, the other being chopped off. Her stomach was even ripped open. Okay. Then it showed Shido, whose mouth was missing. He was dancing with Taoko, who still had the creepy smile. This lasted for about 5 minutes before the moaning returned. It then showed Kotori walking through what happened to be Miku's mansion. The music then turned to some sort of slow, unsettling drum beat with vocals kicking in. It sounded as if the composer was experimenting with the sound of a forest and put eerie sound effects to go with it. Kotori had the most creepiest look on her face. She had red skin with blood red eyes. And a hawk-like mouth. She went to what looked like a room full of unknown creatures. One of them had a moth-like nose, while another had 3 eyes. I was pretty terrified of what it was I was looking at. Okay, if it were some fan-made project by somebody, or maybe it was, in parentheses, they may have done a good job on it, but I'm not gonna look up if it was one or not. That wasn't inside there either, just, you know, I'm just saying. But there would be worse to come. The screen then flickered. Live action images of dead children, of course. A good staple inside of Creepypasta. The first image I can recall showed one, no older than 5 to 6 years, had their head chopped off. The ground was dirty and there was someone's hand. Seemed to be picking it up. Okay. The second image showed a father with a dead and bloody baby in his arms. What I could recall, the baby was apparently shot in the head. Oh God. The rest, I don't even want to go in full detail, but what could I say? It made me feel sick to my stomach. I felt the urge to stop and throw up. I wanted to stop watching, but I couldn't. I have no idea why I couldn't, but I just couldn't. I wanted to see the rest. I had to. Okay, alright, okay. I wanted to know how it ends. So after a quick trip to the bathroom to vomit, I continued. I have no idea why I continued after seeing that dreadful shit, but whatever. The music stopped, and as it did, the screen then cut to black for about 3 minutes. During about, I don't know, 2 minutes after cutting to black, a weird noise started up. What? It sounded like someone breathing heavily. When it cut to the next scene, it started to sound like screaming. The scene showed Yosono. I'm sorry that I'm butchering these names. The lolly girl. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, hopefully the FBI didn't come busting. Staring at the camera. The quality was now better than it was before. I was a little bit relieved, but the sounds weren't helping because after about 10 seconds, it got worse. Yoshino's face had changed to something terrifying. She now had black eyes. With 2 glowing red dots in each pupil. God. Her nose had shrunk into a small little black dot, and her smile, oh God, it stretched super wide, and her lips were smeared as if they were somewhat sucked inside. The sound was now a woman screaming in terror as the camera had zoomed into Yusono's mouth. After that, it was another black screen, which lasted for about 1 minute, by the way, before cutting back to Miku, still hanging from a noose. After about 1 minute of dead silence, the camera then panned over to her face, and oh God, it was terrifying. Just like I said before, her face now had the same look as Tanaka's, and now her eye sockets were now empty, with red pupils in each socket. Oh my God, just like Yusono's, and were leaking blood. She began to laugh, and again, the light Yogama laugh had played, only this time much louder, so loud that it hurt my ears. As she laughed, some speedcore song. My gosh. Speedcore song played in the background with what sounded like a poorly, sloppily played death metal song. It was so loud, making my ears hurt even more. Then the screen started flickering more disturbing images. I don't mean to offend you, but from what I can recall, I think one of those images depicted 9/11. After that, it cut to black for about 5 minutes. I was a little bit creeped out, but then it came. It then cut to the top floor of the dim building where Tanaka was held captive for episodes 7 to 10 in season 2. But this time it was in bad shape, and the walls were bloodied up. In the room was a season 2 antagonist and its company CEO, Westcott, all mangled up with his intestines hanging from what looked like fish hooks. Bloody fish hooks, that's his. West Coast was laying on the floor lifeless. His face had been mutilated with eyeballs hanging out of the sockets. The music was now an endless loop of what sounded like high-pitched vocals with unusual sounds and instruments playing in the background. It sounded like being in the belly of a beast. Okay, I was creeped out when looking at Westcott and what happened to him. I could have been glad to see him dead because he was a bad guy, a sadistic, evil, cowardly bad guy. In season 2, he led his secretary Ellen to kidnap Tanaka and create an inverse version of her where she had no memory and all she could do is cause spectacle quakes. After he disappeared, it angered me because it left me feeling like he would still be out there waiting to kidnap another spirit some other day. I would have been glad to see him dead, but seeing his corpse in this scene, it just made me feel bad for him, even after most of the things that he done. Anyways, after showing Westcott's court for about 2 minutes, it then cut to Raisin High School. The high school was now in terrible shape rather than how it looked in the beginning of the episode. Half of the building was destroyed, the windows had been shattered, and some of the beams were corroded and ruined. It then cut to the inside of the classroom. The classroom had been bloodied up with body parts of the students hanging on these same fish hooks for about 30 seconds. Static flickered on the screen. It then cut back to the classroom. This time, in a shot from the teacher's desk. Showing what appeared to be Tanaka. Just like Miku, she was now hanging on the noose. Her hands were tied behind her back. She was wearing the same black dress she wore when Shido had encountered her in the ballroom, and now it was torn up and ruined. A minute passed before the static flickered on the screen again, now cutting to the rooftop. The sky was now red, and mutilated corpses of the students can be seen, including those 3 girls that judged Shido for whatever he does. 10 seconds later, the static flickered for one last time before cutting to Shido, now with pale skin and a look of emptiness on his face, standing in front of a Pennsylvanian farm, staring at the camera. He was still wearing that golden tuxedo he wore for his date with Tanaka, but it was ruined and had been deteriorated. After 20 seconds, it then cut to him carrying a gun and aiming it at his head, the jazz tune from the ballroom so he can start to play over again. This time in reverse. 5 seconds in, and then he whispered the words in a dark, unsettling tone. "It is over. Farewell." Just as he did, his face had changed to a more darker expression. It was the same face Yosono made before. As his face changed, the scream from Yosono's sequence played again. This time much louder than before, and as it did, the light Yagama laugh came on again. After about 10 seconds, Shido shot himself, and then the black screen came on with Japanese text. The gunshot sound was louder than the scream, loud enough to make my eardrums explode. It took about 5 seconds for my hearing to come back though. That's usually what happens when, guns fire. The Japanese text, which was written in red, happened to translate to, even I just remembered how to translate Japanese all of a sudden. "Our world is now a whole. Let the word be said. May God have mercy." It showed the text for about 10 seconds. After that, the season 2 ending came on, but no one was in it. Not even Shido himself. The only credits that were on screen only had the number 8 as far as I could remember. Even the happy innocent Day the Story end song wasn't playing either, just dead silence. After the end credits ended, the episode ended, showing the old Funimation logo. After it ended, it cut back to the main menu. I was left speechless. I turned off the projector and took the DVD out and shut my PS4 off. I can now see why my friend didn't want me to watch it. After all that, I washed my face and plopped myself on my bed. All I could think was, God, what in the actual fuck was I watching? Jesus. After a 10-minute rest, I went to the kitchen, poured myself a bowl of Lucky Charms cereal, and decided to finish the rest of the bootleg Lego Batman movie in my basement on the PS4. The next day, I decided to see if there was any information of the episode. I googled date Alive or Alive OVA 3, but nothing about it came up. Tried IMDb, nothing came up. I searched many websites for it. All of them had nothing about the episode. I never even spoke about it to my friend. Since then, I had to put the episode into a separate CD and thought about selling it to eBay. I don't know where the episode came from, who made it, or why it even exists. If you have a theory, feel free to share it, because I am a little eager to know how this episode came into existence. However, you must mark my words, if you ever, and I mean ever, come across this lost episode, or OVA of your favorite anime, be sure to think twice. No matter how curious you may be, just remember what you should do, because sometimes you don't see things you want to see or are used to seeing. Thank you for reading. This is Vincent, signing off. Well, that was Date Alive Broken Promises. And not gonna lie, Vincent, I kinda didn't like it. I mean, I didn't like it at all. It's not really kind of, I didn't like it at all. But you know what? Instead of doing something, I'm gonna do something a little bit different. Not just am I gonna do a short review, a very short review, because this one is really bad that it really needs to be, short. not just a short review. I'm gonna do, how to create a creepypasta without so many of these cliches and stuff like that. It's gonna be like a little bit of a short list. But you know what? Let's just get to the review itself. Now, the beginning is very, very cliche and takes me off the mood. I mean, it starts off with, ever seen a lost episode before? Ever seen your favorite anime or creepypasta? Whatever. Like, that just sends a really bad message to the reader that they're in for a very, very bad creepypasta, because there are lots of creepypastas that start off like that are really not that good. I mean, a lot of them. I mean, some of them are sprinkled that start off like that. They start off good, but you know what? Please do not start off with that again, because that is the main indicator of what is going to come when you read this story. Now, the second thing that I wanted to point out is the summary of the show. Like, the summary of the show itself, like the actual show, like Date Alive or whatever, or Date Alive, I don't know, was kind of weird. I mean, I didn't really get the concept at all. You have to date girls in order to get power. I mean, like, what the fuck is this? Like fucking honey pop or some shit? And then we get to the thing that kind of pissed me off the most. The cliches. Now, please, if you're gonna write another creepypasta, please do not use static, 1 minute black screens, gore, blood, and ultra violence. Those things are a turn off. Not inside of that way, but a turn off for anyone who is an avid creepypasta reader. I mean, those like give indicators inside of the indicators for to the reader that the writer does not really know how to write a creepy story. All it does is just show that the writer just likes throwing stuff at the wall and just seeing what sticks, and nothing really stuck at all. Now, this is going to be a little bit more different. I'm going to tell you how to make a creepypasta or write a creepypasta. Now, number 1, cut down on the gore. Like, please do not use excess gore inside of it. I'm not saying just stop all the gore entirely or stop all the blood entirely, but please cut down on the gore. There was so much gore in this fucking creepypasta that you could pretty much make a block party out of the entire fucking blood that was spilled inside this creepypasta. Second step is try to make it true to life. Just don't make it like, what would be the reason to make like some type of creepy episode, or no, not even creepy episode, some type of bloody episode like this? Like, from the creator standpoint of this show, Date Alive, what would be the reason of creating this episode in the first place? And I know there was like this one line where they say, like, this could have possibly been made by someone else, but really, you gotta really think about it. If it was made by someone else, you could tell. Like, even like Zone Animations, and if you know what Zone is, wink wink nudge nudge, Zone Animation still has like that style to it where you're like, yeah, I kind of think that this isn't the real thing. The real creators didn't make this. Like, try to make it true to life, okay? Instead of like throwing blood and guts and whatever at the entire like at the crew, like inside the creepypasta, like, focus on like a darker aspect of the show. Maybe something a little bit more darker that could possibly happen. Like, nothing too extreme like super blood and super gore and ultra violence. Something a little bit more true to life. Like, focus on like a more darker aspect of the show, or maybe a lost episode where it did focus on a darker aspect or something like that. Like, having something like blood and guts and stuff like that just wouldn't make any sense. If there's such a lively show, why would they add blood and guts to it for no reason? And then the third thing is the ultra violence needs to be toned down. I know, man. Like, I know people think that this is the most creepiest thing about it, like the super violence, the super slasher violence shit and stuff like that. Please tone it down next time, okay? No, don't even tone it down. Like, get rid of it entirely. I'm not saying like get rid of violence inside of the creepypasta. Just tone down and get rid of the ultra violence, the unnecessary violence, the unnecessary killings, like the real life killings of like the kids inside the creepypasta. That really need to like happen. And then we also have like footage of 9/11, which didn't really make any sense. Like, why add footage of 9/11 inside of there? Was there any correlation between the anime and 9/11? Like what was there like a scene of 9/11 inside the anime? No one knows. Like, I haven't watched it before, but no one really knows why you would add that. But just like I said before, Vincent, I know that you're trying your hardest, but please take my suggestions, okay? Take my suggestions inside of trying to make a creepypasta. Not only take my suggestions, like, take other people's suggestions. You know what? I'm going to put a link inside the bottom. that is going to give you a guide on how to create a scary story or a creepypasta or whatever that will really help you and start creating really fantastic creepypastas. Like, I really do think you can create something fantastic, and inside that, with your mindset, you can really create something really good. But right now, this just is not really that good. So what do you guys think of it? I shouldn't really even ask you guys that, because this one wasn't really that good. You know, whatever. What do you guys think of this creepypasta? You guys think it was good? You guys think it was bad? Leave inside the comment section below. You guys think that it was good? Most of you think that it was bad, but whatever. So, see you guys later. Like, comment, and subscribe. Go on my Twitter, go to my Steam, whatever. And I'll see you guys later, and bye.